The clock on your bedside table reads 3:14 a.m. The world outside is a graveyard of silence. Yet inside your bedroom, a violent broadcast is playing. Your lower back isn't just aching, it's screaming. That toothache that was a dull thrum at noon has transformed into a rhythmic, pulsing hammer. You are perfectly still, yet you feel like you are losing a marathon. This is the great nocturnal betrayal. It is the moment when your own body, the very vessel designed to protect you, appears to turn its back on you. You aren't imagining the intensity. The pain is objectively, biologically worse. But why does the darkness act as a megaphone for agony? This isn't a mere glitch in your perception. It is a systemic, calculated shift in your internal governance. It is a story of biological infrastructure, a withdrawal of regulatory oversight, and an evolutionary security protocol that has remained unchanged for 250,000 years. We are about to investigate the timeline of your midnight agony. We are looking for the reason the stadium lights of your consciousness dim, only for the rioters of your nervous system to take over the field. This is the investigation into why the night is the most dangerous time for the human spirit. To understand the 3 a.m. crisis, we have to look at the body as a massive corporate entity. During the day, the executive branch is in full control. Your brain is occupied. Your senses are flooded with data. You are processing light, sound, social cues, and the logistics of survival. This creates a phenomenon known as the gate control theory of pain. Think of it as a busy stadium entrance. When the crowd is thick and everyone is pushing through the turnstiles, a single disruptive individual, the pain signal, struggles to get noticed. The gates of your spinal cord are crowded with other sensory information. The wind on your skin, the hum of the office AC, the visual processing of a spreadsheet. All of this creates noise that drowns out the signal of pain. But as the sun sets, the stadium empties. The noise dies down. The gates are clear. Suddenly, that single disruptive signal has a clear path to the VIP lounge of your brain. But the silence of the room is only the surface-level explanation. The real scandal is happening in the accounting department of your endocrine system. We begin our timeline at 8 p.m. This is when your body begins its daily, managed decline of cortisol. In the world of sports governance, cortisol is the ultimate PR firm. It is the body's primary anti-inflammatory agent. It manages stress, suppresses the immune system's more aggressive tendencies, and keeps the peace across your joints and tissues. During the day, your cortisol levels are high. The PR firm is working overtime to spin the narrative, telling your brain that the inflammation in your shoulder isn't a big deal. They are effectively hushing the protesters. But around 8 p.m., the PR firm clocks out. Cortisol levels begin to plummet to their lowest point of the 24-hour cycle. By 11 p.m., the regulatory oversight has vanished. Without cortisol to keep them in check, your body's inflammatory markers, the pro-inflammatory cytokines, begin to mobilize. These are the enforcers of the immune system. They are designed to seek out damage and start the repair process. Repair, however, is a violent act. It requires heat, swelling, and the sensitization of nerve endings. With the anti-inflammatory police off the streets, these cytokines begin their work in earnest. They flood the site of your injury or chronic condition. They turn up the heat. They make the area tender. They are doing their job, but they are doing it without a communications director. To soften the blow to your consciousness, you are witnessing the raw, unedited footage of your body's internal conflict. As we move toward 1 a.m., another player enters the fray: melatonin. While we often view melatonin as a gentle sleep hormone, it has a darker side in the context of pain. Melatonin actually has a pro-inflammatory effect in certain contexts. It helps stimulate the immune system to ensure that while you are offline for sleep, the maintenance crews have the resources they need to fix the day's wear and tear. It is a massive infrastructure project that only happens during the night shift. But because this project involves increasing the sensitivity of your immune response, it also increases your sensitivity to pain. The stadium is being renovated while you are trying to sleep in the stands. The jackhammers are loud. The dust is everywhere, and there is no one at the front desk to take your complaint. By 2 a.m., we reach the cytokine storm phase. This is the peak of the investigative timeline. At this hour, the concentration of inflammatory proteins in your blood is at its highest. If you have rheumatoid arthritis, this is why your joints feel like they are filled with broken glass. If you have a respiratory infection, this is why your lungs feel heavy and your cough becomes relentless. The body is effectively burning the infection or the injury out of the system. This calm outrage of the immune system is a necessary biological function, but it is experienced by the individual as a period of unmitigated suffering. The money flows of the body, the blood and lymph, are redirected toward these conflict zones, leaving your peripheral nerves on high alert. This wasn't a series of isolated biological mistakes. It was exactly how the system was designed to work. To understand why this design exists, we have to look at the historical expansion of the human species. Imagine our ancestors on the African savanna. During the day, they needed to be functional. They needed to hunt, gather, and flee from predators. A twisted ankle or a toothache couldn't be allowed to incapacitate them. The body deceived them, using cortisol and adrenaline to mask the pain so they could survive the day. Pain was a luxury they couldn't afford during business hours. But at night, the priorities shifted. At night, the tribe was huddled in a cave or around a fire. This was the only safe zone in a world of predators. This was the time for the biological audit. The body needed to know exactly where the damage was. It needed the individual to stay still so the repair crews could work. By amplifying pain at night, evolution ensured that the organism would remain immobile and vigilant. If your leg hurts more at night, you are less likely to walk on it, allowing the bone or muscle to knit back together. Furthermore, the increased sensitivity acted as a low-level alarm. In the total darkness of the prehistoric night, a sleeping human is vulnerable. By keeping the nervous system in a state of high alert through pain, evolution provided a hair-trigger response to any external threat. You weren't supposed to sleep deeply if you were injured. You were supposed to be the sentry for the tribe. This biological stadium deal was a masterpiece of survival engineering. We traded a night of comfort for a lifetime of mobility. We accepted a tax of midnight agony to ensure our operational budget for the following day was intact. But in the modern world, this deal has turned sour. We no longer live in caves. We no longer face the same predatory threats. Yet, the institutional power of our circadian rhythm hasn't received the memo. The governing body of our DNA is still operating on a playbook that is 200,000 years out of date. We are being punished by a system that is trying to save us from a world that no longer exists. The deep dive into this infrastructure reveals a chilling reality. Our modern environment has weaponized this timeline against us. Consider the broadcast rights of our attention. In the past, the darkness was absolute. Today, we have blue light. When you stare at a smartphone at 2 a.m. while in pain, you are committing a systemic violation of your internal clock. Blue light suppresses melatonin, but it doesn't necessarily stop the inflammatory process. It simply confuses the executive branch. It keeps the brain online to process the pain signals, while the maintenance crews, the cytokines, continue their violent work. You are essentially forcing yourself to watch the live feed of your own inflammation, without the benefit of the sedative effects of deep sleep. Furthermore, we must look at the financial flows of our modern psychology. During the day, you have social capital. You have friends, colleagues, and family to distract you. You have the marketplace of ideas to occupy your mind. But at 3 a.m., Your social bank account is empty. You are in solitary confinement. Psychology tells us that pain is not just a physical sensation. It is an emotional evaluation. When you are alone in the dark, the implication of the pain grows. A backache isn't just a backache. It becomes a fear that you will never walk again, that you will lose your job, that you are aging into obsolescence. The investigative report of your mind begins to catastrophize. The isolation of the night removes the buffer of human connection, leaving you defenseless against the predatory lending of your own anxieties. This is the wider implication of the nocturnal pain cycle. It is a perfect storm of biological, evolutionary, and psychological factors. It is a broken promise of the highest order. We were told that sleep was for healing, but for millions, sleep is a battlefield. We see this in the statistics of chronic pain management. Patients report their highest levels of suicidal ideation and despair between the hours of midnight and 4 a.m. This isn't because they are weak. It's because they are being subjected to a biological interrogation by their own nervous system. The infrastructure of agony is so well built that it can bypass almost any conscious defense. The governing bodies of medicine are only now beginning to understand the chronobiology of pain. We are starting to see that the timing of medication is just as important as the dosage. If the cytokine storm peaks at 2 a.m., taking a pill at 8 a.m. is like sending a fire truck to a building that burned down 12 hours ago. We are seeing a shift toward chronopharmacology, the practice of aligning medical intervention with the body's internal timeline. It is an attempt to audit the body's schedule and intervene before the PR firm of cortisol leaves for the night. We are trying to rewrite the stadium deal to be more humane. But even with modern medicine, the specific sadness of the night remains. There is a unique kind of grief that comes with being awake while the rest of the world sleeps. It is a feeling of being excommunicated from the land of the living. You watch the minutes tick by on the clock, each one a documented failure of your body to find peace. You are a whistleblower in a silent company, trying to alert someone, anyone, to the corruption of your own cells. But there is no one to take the call. There is only the rhythmic throbbing of your pulse and the cold logic of your evolutionary past. We must also consider the political interference of our lifestyle choices. Our broadcast rights to a quiet mind are being sold off to the highest bidder. Caffeine, alcohol, and irregular sleep schedules are all lobbyists that disrupt the delicate balance of our internal governance. Alcohol, in particular, is a fraudulent actor. It may help you fall asleep, but as it is metabolized, it creates a rebound effect that spikes your heart rate and increases your sensitivity to pain, just as the cytokine storm is hitting its peak. It is a kickback scheme that leaves you more bankrupt than when you started. As we approach the end of our timeline, we reach 5 a.m. This is the dawn of the regulatory recovery. As the first hints of light appear, the executive branch begins to wake up. The brain starts to produce a small stimulus package of adrenaline and cortisol to prepare you for the day. The PR firm returns to the office. The inflammatory markers begin to retreat, their night shift complete. The stadium gates start to open again, and the noise of the world begins to flood in. The pain doesn't disappear, but it becomes manageable. It becomes a minority shareholder in your consciousness, rather than the majority owner. You might feel a sense of relief as the sun rises, but the investigation isn't over. The evidence of the night's trauma remains in the form of fatigue, brain fog, and a general malaise. You have survived the nocturnal coup, but the institutional damage is done. You will walk through your day as a survivor of a conflict that no one else saw. You will play your part in the public spectacle of daily life, hiding the internal audit that nearly broke you just a few hours ago. This wasn't a series of isolated mistakes. It was exactly how the system was designed to work. The broken promises of a restful night are the cost of doing business for a species that survived the prehistoric wild. We are the legacy code of an ancient survival program, running on modern hardware that doesn't know how to close the app. The night doesn't create the pain, it simply deregulates it. It removes the subsidies of distraction and the oversight of cortisol, leaving you to face the market value of your own physical suffering. The investigation into why pain feels worse at night reveals a profound truth about the human condition. We are not masters of our domain. We are subject to the bylaws of a biological federation that does not take our comfort into account. We are governed by rhythms that are older than our languages, older than our gods, and certainly older than our hospitals. The midnight throb in your tooth, or the ache in your hip, is a direct message from your ancestors, a safety protocol that has outlived its usefulness but refuses to resign. So, the next time you find yourself staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., trapped in the vice grip of physical agony, remember that you are witnessing a institutional power move. Your body is not broken. It is highly regulated. It is performing a security sweep of your entire system, using pain as the flashlight. It is a devastating conclusion to realize that our suffering is a feature, not a bug. The systemic failure we feel is actually the systemic success of a biological machine that values your survival over your serenity. The sun begins to bleed through the curtains now. The broadcast is ending. The PR firm is back at their desks, spinning the story, telling you that you're fine, that you can make it through the meeting, that the pain is under control. The stadium is filling up again. The rioters have retreated into the shadows of your joints and nerves, waiting for the shift change that will inevitably come again in 16 hours. You are safe. For now. The governing body has restored order, but the files are still there. The evidence is etched into your exhaustion. You have seen the unfiltered truth of your own biology. The world wakes up, oblivious to the silent war you just fought. You pour your coffee, you check your emails, and you join the global economy of the living. The investigation is closed, but the case is never truly settled. The darkness will return. The PR firm will go home. The gates will clear, and the broadcast of your pain will resume its scheduled programming. We are all just tenants in a building that undergoes violent renovations every single night. The light is full now. The shadows are gone. The governance of the day is absolute. You move your leg, and it only hurts a little. You smile at a stranger. The scandal of the night is hidden behind the corporate veil of your daily routine. But you know the truth. You know what happens when the lights go out. You know who really runs the stadium when the fans go home. We are evolutionary masterpieces trapped in a modern cage.